With me now, Shannon Bream, Fox News Sunday anchor and chief legal correspondent, and Dana Perino, America's Newsroom co-anchor and co-host of The Five. Great to have both of you with us. I mean, this comparison with Reagan is so interesting, I think. And I want to play another soundbite. We actually have two of these, but let's do number two first, of Reagan campaigning back in 1980 as another part of that Urban League address. Just listen to the language that he is speaking here. Watch.
But there's another barrier that concerns me even more, and that is the idea that black Americans are some underclass of people who must be treated apart from the mainstream of Americans because they don't have the capabilities the rest of us have. Nothing could be further from the truth.
So, Dana, this is an interesting moment, and I think about the Morehouse speech that President Biden gave the other day, and that the comparison between these different philosophies of what all voters may be looking for, black, white, Hispanic.
It's interesting also to think about No Child Left Behind, which was President George W. Bush's signature initiative in the first term before 9/11. And that was because what he saw as governor was the soft bigotry of low expectations for black and brown children. So this is an issue that is not getting solved over time. And I also want to compare not just what Trump is doing to what Reagan did, because that one is like quite, you can see, okay, that makes sense. Compare Biden's campaign event this week in New Hampshire, which it should be a lock for Biden, but they had to go to New Hampshire because it's not a lock. And Trump saying, let me try to widen this electoral map. They're looking at places like Minnesota, Virginia. Remember Obama? He was able to say, like, let me try to do this. Imagine President Biden saying, I'm going to go do an event in Missouri, in Alabama, in Arkansas, just because he thinks I might have a chance there because I have something to say to those people. You can't imagine it because it's out of the question he wouldn't do it. But President Trump doing that today, he's got the left angry at him. He's got AOC saying, how dare you? Yeah. And I would imagine her constituents are saying, I want to hear what he has to say.
They could be. Shannon, as we get ready to watch this tonight, we see the polls, though, the latest polls, really neck and neck nationally. But Trump is trying to push into these areas that are not safe haven for him.
Yeah, and as you talk about contrasting the events, too, just the optics of this, to think about that President Trump is willing to go into a place with thousands of people, and we know that there are calls for counter protesters to show up. Yep. He knows this may not be a fully welcoming audience, and yet he's willing to do it, which is such a contrast from the very controlled Biden events that are scripted, and who's going to ask questions and who's going to be there, and making sure that no protesters can get anywhere close to what he's doing and as he's trying to speak. So just the optics of him being willing to go there.
Yeah, and in New Hampshire, I should have said, in New Hampshire, when Biden went there this week, there were just a dozen, dozens of people there, not 3,500 people capacity. And
I'm just thinking about that article.
The article I sent you from the New Hampshire Journal, you have to read it. It's unbelievable. It says, basically, it has quoting people there saying, are they still practicing social distancing? Like, that's like how lackluster. They said there was nothing memorable. You couldn't quote anything from the speech. And that is just compare and contrast, guys. That's what I'm saying to everybody. President Trump might not win New York. He might, but he might not, but he's willing to try again. Biden could never go to some of these southern states. Yeah. He can't even get a crowd in New Hampshire.
Yeah, one of the funniest lines there was that someone at the event in New Hampshire for Biden said they were waiting for someone to yell bingo.
Right. Tens of people have shown up. I mean, and think about, this is supposed to be one of the most diverse districts around. I mean, Census Bureau says it's about 65% Hispanic, about 31% black residents in this area. But Trump is willing to go there because the polls have shown, as you said, this closing. I mean, New York Times Siena last polls, our Fox polls in swing states, closing the gap, nearly tied with Hispanic voters. Yeah. And if these numbers held, he'd be more than 23% support from black voters, which has not happened since 1964 or before when the Civil Rights Act.
And you can see the Biden coalition is starting to fall apart. The other thing that President Trump gets from an event like this today is data and information. So everybody that comes through, you get an email address, you get a phone number. He's like, can I follow up with you? Can I reach out to you? Could you be a small donor? Would you mind volunteering? Can I count on your vote? That's very valuable as well. And remember, all of those videos will go viral. So it has a chance to go bad. There's a risk, but there's a chance it could be really good for him too.
But he likes to mix it up. I think even if he was heckled,
Absolutely.
that's something he's comfortable with and he
But I'll
kind of
tell you,
enjoys doing.
The other thing that I really think is part of the motivation here, and this is just my gut instinct, you know, he's a New Yorker. I mean, when I grew up in this area, you know, he was like on the cover of every newspaper all the time. There's always lots of drama, lots of gossip going on. But he said that I think it drives him crazy that he's downtown in this courtroom in New York, and he feels like he's getting beat up by the New York justice system, and he would love to win New York for that reason, right? Because then he could turn around
And he
to
cares about the
brag
city.
and Letitia James and say, like, yeah, no, he does. He loves
Cares
the
about
city.
the
And one of
city.
the things that motivated him to run for office were potholes, because he used to get so angry driving around New York City that everything was a mess and falling apart. He's like, we know we need to fix this.
Watch how the immigration issue plays tonight with this crowd.
Yeah, you heard that teacher. Was very upset about that from the Bronx.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Shannon,
I'm just going to follow you around
See you
all
on
day.
Fox
I
News
might just be
Sunday.
there for
I'm
dinner.
going to talk about the 5. You know, we're just
I'm also
hanging out all day
hitching
today.
myself to the Martha wagon.
All right. And we'll see you on the 5.
Thank
Thank you
you
so much. Great to have both of you with us.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.